When it comes to roguelike deck builders, sequels are as rare as an empty train during rush hour. Games like Slay the Spire, Balatro, Roguebook, Griftlands, Astrea, Dicey Dungeons. Those haven't seen follow-ups yet, mainly because the genre is still relatively fresh, emerging over the past few years. This makes Monster Train 2 particularly fascinating to observe. It sets the bar so high that competitors might slow down a bit and reconsider their own release dates. Please note that this video contains both visual and narrative spoilers, so if you want to experience that one jaw-dropping moment firsthand, and trust me, you'll know when you get there, save this video and come back once you've reached that certain milestone. The original Monster Train steamed into the station back in 2020, boasting a whopping 96% positive review score on Steam, gathered over 5 years while the sequel was cooking. The sequel hits the track exactly on May 21st, same date as the original, and swiftly achieved overwhelming praise, reaching 3,000 reviews by the time of this recording. In Monster Train, you're defending Hell against angelic invaders, racing to rekindle the frozen pyre. The sequel, however, switches tracks, placing you in charge of an alliance between angels and demons, united to defeat the Seraphs. The game now features a small yet enjoyable visual novel segment, where you can dive deeper into each clan leader's story as you unlock new clans by completing milestones. The main hub remains your launching pad, allowing you to start runs, browse your card and artifact collections, customize your train, and engage in dimensional challenges, which I'll get to a bit later. As for the journey, your train now climbs upward toward the Angel Gates rather than descending, although familiar forks and upgrades along the way appear just as often as in the original. The sequel introduces 5 brand new clans, each with their own unique mechanics, identity, and 2 heroes to choose from. You still select a main clan and a support clan, just like in the original. It might seem like a straightforward reuse of a winning formula, but it actually turns out into something much bigger. Once you've progressed enough, you will rescue the old clans from the first game. And just like that, the roster expands to a full set of 10 clans, and the synergy potential skyrockets. At this point, I honestly started to wonder whether the devs initially wanted to release a chunky DLC and then pivoted towards a full-blown sequel, or maybe they just built a sequel and thought, hey, let's just slap the original clans in there because why not? In any case, I'm glad they did. The sheer variety of viable strategies is enough to make me sink at least 100 hours into the game, and yeah, I'm still getting there. Once you've settled on your clan duo, you can now choose a Pyreheart perk. This is a welcome addition that was missing from the original. These custom pyres are unlocked through gameplay and provide substantial bonuses, like duplicating cards at merchants, drafting your starter deck almost from scratch, and many more. It adds another layer of complexity and caters to wildly different playstyles. I personally tend to forget about my pyre's ability, even though it's clearly highlighted for players like me with tunnel vision, or rather, floor vision. So I usually pick passive perks that quietly carry me when I'm busy sabotaging my own run. You can always go RRR and try to have some fun with what the game throws at you. Even starting with the exact same clans and Pyreheart can lead to different outcomes. Wanna stick to an unbeatable formula do nothing win? How about you try Underlegion's Cluster Kernel plus Spore Launcher? Decay stacks and the number of fun guys will be crazy. Or take the same Underlegion and go full rally build. Your Ballet will grow so fat you'll need 2 tickets for the next train. Personally, I'm a huge buff enjoyer. So I usually go for Banished as the main clan and Underlegion with their insane propagates. Or maybe Hellhorn for extra rage. You can stack Valor into the triple digits. If you manage to find a trample and a quick buff on top of that, your floor will turn into a natural slaughterhouse. Speaking of floors, Monster Train 2 introduces a new card type, Room. These are passive upgrades that stick to a floor and do things like increase spell damage, grant energy on kill, summon spikes, apply sap, and many more. As if we didn't have enough variety already, right? I can just imagine how the game was initially pitched. Like, how many new mechanics should we add? Yes, all of them! And somehow it all fits together without turning into a train wreck. The train where battles take place still has 3 floors, plus the PF floor, which technically counts as the 4th. You can still place spells on it, if all other floors are filled with bastards that trigger incant. What bothers me somewhat is that the camera is now too zoomed in. Where you used to see at least 2 floors at once, now you are glued to just one. It is easy to feel great about cleaning the bottom floor, and then get utterly destroyed by a tanky unit that slipped past the first wave. Thankfully, the devs implemented an undo turn button, which might be just the best quality of life feature since the invention of animation speed. And I'll be honest, I abused the hell out of this button until I see that X on the boss. I mean, how could I not? Devs just legitimized the saves coming. I know I should get good and all, but I have that urge that makes me drop my cards really fast, so a misclick is my common companion in every run. If the undo turn button isn't enough for you, you can restart the entire battle, so you can save scum the classic way. The sequel introduces a deployment phase that happens before the first turn. During this phase, you draw only units, rooms and equipment. It helps with early consistency and planning, but it's not foolproof. Sometimes blind placement backfires. Some floors require a thorough setup, which makes the decision to dump your units on the bottom questionable if the first wave had enemies with quick and multi-strike. Or conversely, you need to place troops on all floors, because there are enemies that damage your pyre if your floor is empty. All in all, the deployment phase is a good addition on average, as it makes your deck thinner and it doesn't clutter your initial hand with situational cards. By the way, if you see the intrinsic upgrade in the shop, just go for it. It's not counted as a common draw and essentially gives you a bonus draw for the first turn. Monster Train has always dared the player to break its mechanics. The sequel takes the dare and doubles it. For instance, you can take a 0-cost spell that discards your hand and draws 5 cards, and then duplicate it 5 times. Cast it on a floor stacked with incant units that deal damage whenever you play a spell, and suddenly you've got an infinite loop of magic damage. Or you can stuff 3 beefy minions into a summon box that lets you bypass floor size limits, then you duplicate that box as many times as your piggy bank allows. You can generate nigh infinite gold through Dragon Egg plus avarice shenanigans, and then win through sheer power of capitalism. Playing Pyreborn dragons feels like riding a gravy train. They hoard gold like there is no tomorrow. There will be a point where you'll be questioning where to invest all that gold, since the game still won't let you go infinite on the artifacts and upgrades. The reroll button in shops can only be used once. The game has several collaborations that bring joy to any deck building enthusiast. For instance, one of the events is made in collaboration with Richard Garfield, one of the creators of Magic the Gathering. You will also see jokers from Balatro and add them to your artifact list. You will also meet followers from the Cult of the Lamb and play them on all the floors. There are at least several more notable collaborations which I'll let you discover on your own. There has also been an addition of text boxes with artist names for each card. It's a nice gesture that helps artists build their portfolios. It doesn't affect me as a player directly, but I do like the idea behind it. Hearthstone, for instance, has had it for years, but not many single-player games include this kind of feature. The base game had an alternative game mode, Hell Rush, where you could compete with up to 8 players. Everyone got the same seed and raced to beat it faster than their opponents. You could even see battle results in real time and interact through emojis. As of this recording, that mode hasn't made it into the sequel. Instead, we get daily challenges with mutators and a new system called Dimensional Challenges. Dimensional challenges aim to introduce you to different factions in a more guided way. The seeds and mutators are fixed, and each challenge unlocks the next. Completing them all unlocks a new Pyre Heart, along with some cosmetic stuff like train floor backgrounds and card backs. The introduction of cosmetic unlocks is something that should have been in the original, so it's very much welcome in the second part. It's quite modest, but the potential for more customization is certainly there. The background for all the floors of your train can be changed, you just need to beat the final boss once. Or 180 times with all the clan combinations on Covenant 10? I mean, it's totally up to you. If you think that's impossible, think again. There are some people who already managed that, 3 weeks since the release. The Covenant system itself was trimmed down from 25 levels to just 10, but don't let that fool you. Covenant 10 bosses still hit like a train. Considering that bosses on stages 4, 5 and 7 are assigned randomly, and there is no indication which one will be spawned on those, you can get your pyre kicked very quickly. Sticking to just one floor can be a grave mistake, depending on the boss type. Each Seraph, aka main boss, also shuffles its perks at the start of the run. They might apply spikes or rage to their allies, hit you with DK or sap, push your units to the back row, or shuffle blights into your deck. As long as you read what each boss does before setting off, you can adapt, in theory. If that is not a decay spreading bastard that kills your backline before the relentless stage. You can slice through every boss like a hot knife through butter, but the Seraph will absolutely serve your pyre back to you, no matter how many retries you do. And if that was not enough, there is a true boss battle after each Seraph. If you deliberately put yourself through more torture during the run by enabling stronger bosses, you will collect Titan Shards. Collecting 3 of them unlocks the Titan battle that will put your deck building skills to the test. Compared to the original, there are fewer infamous Crystal Clock style gatekeepers, but some tanky enemies still emerge with multi-strike, or there are flyers that damage your pyre if a floor is empty. Personally, I don't mind them. What takes me down more often than not is my own greed. Like, why would anyone with an ounce of sanity decide to reduce the energy per turn or spawn enemies with extra reanimate? To earn a measly 400 gold, why do we do this to ourselves? Vanity fluff, of course. Monster Train 2 brings back one of the best features from the original, golden card bags that mark which cards help you beat the final boss. 436 in total, and you're done! Of course I'm kidding, you're only done after 180 wins with every clan combo Covenant 10, remember? Monster Train is a great game, but Monster Train 2 is exceptional. Where there was one cool feature, now there are 2. Where there were 100 busted combos, now there are 1000. What makes the sequel even better is that it doesn't forgo the old clans and characters, it builds on them. It doesn't just stick to the rails, it upgrades the engine, adds new cars, and lays down fresh tracks while keeping the original ride intact. It almost feels like a huge DLC rather than the second part, as the devs decided to stick to the same formula and not mix it with either a new genre or a 3D view, for which I'm really grateful. Comparisons to other deck builders might be tempting, but Monster Train truly is in the league of its own and deserves to be recognized as such. If you are still hesitating, hop on the bandwagon and enjoy the ride. Thank you for watching.